trying to meta against Delver, but once again, that's still a decently hard thing to do. So we have a so Brandon's on the left playing red-green aggro, and Kyle's on the right playing Delver.
Right.
So tag's a little off. We'll fix that in a second here.
Yeah, I feel like in general this is one of those matchups that if both players are like of slightly like novice levels, then the red-green deck is favored just because of the amount of pressure it applies to Delver. But a good Delver player can definitely navigate their way around anything. So
we've tested this matchup like once or twice,
yeah.
I suppose. Neither novice is here though. This is a matchup which I'd say both players have played ad nauseum pretty much. A turn 2 Strangleroot Geist.
Alright, so Kyle kept a 1-lander on the draw and bricked.
On the play, you mean?
No, because that's a Glacial Fortress, so it must have been on the draw.
Yeah, so turn two Strangleroot Geist out of Brandon Nelson drops Kyle to 18. Kyle then representing Mana Leak, and yeah, he does have one. I believe he has a pair. Brandon able to sneak one thread in pretty early, which is good. Kyle's gonna hopefully just not. Okay, Kyle's on a mulligan to 5. Okay. That would be another half of the explanation. It's this is a really loose keep. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so I know that like when we play this, typically you're usually on the Delver end of things. So what's your game plan when you've been running Delver in this matchup?
I mean, I guess the big difference is there's games where you have Delver, and there's games where you don't. And those are very different because, like, in the Delver games, like, you're just, like, off to a jump start where, like, you basically just have to stay alive while the Delver takes over.
Right.
Like, you just need to last 7 turns with it attacking every single turn. But it's really awkward when, like, your first turn is just, like, an island and a ponder or whatever, because to be able to step into that zone, it's a lot easier just to sit behind, like, Leak and Vapor Snag and Snapcaster Mages when you already have, like, an attacking plan going.
Right. Brandon, not applying too much more pressure, still making his land drops, but it's just the Geist as of right now.
Yeah. He threw a Soar into a Leak, but no, he'd probably rather get a guy down anyhow.
Yeah, Kyle's gonna almost have to leak anything Brandon does here. So he's gonna go for a Zenith for a Geist.
Yeah.
Kyle has a leak. He also has a Snapcaster. Snapcaster's not. He's gonna leak it.
Yeah, but Snapcaster's not gonna be alive for a while unless he's just needs to throw it away for a Thought Scour.
Right. I think Kyle's drops to 14 then as well.
Yeah.
Still no more land. So in this board state, what sort of hand is Kyle looking for to get back into this?
I mean, he's gonna need. I mean, right now with him missing land drops of all sorts, that's like a big problem enough. But basically, it's one of those situations where you need to set up, like, you need to get a Geist on the table, and then you either need to like Vapor snag its way through for a couple of turns, or like if you can like play a Geist and like shotgun them for 4 and then like replay another Geist. You just need like big swingy moves like that. But if he's just falling behind on lands, that looks like an issue. On the other hand, Brandon's like pretty threat light, which is
yeah, 5th land out of Brandon, just into land rails. Kyle makes an end step, ambush Viper Mage.
Yeah, Brandon also has like the ability though here just to navigate around a mana leak at his leisure. Like he's just a land away from playing like a Huntmaster with 7 access to 7 mana.
Right.
So, but he could just be sitting on like burn spells too, or just like another burns or whatnot. I can't really see his hand.
Yeah, Kyle's definitely sitting. He has a 3rd mana leak. Which I suppose like a 5-card hand is, I mean, it doesn't have a Delver, but short of the Delver, it's like a lot of what you could ask for.
Yeah, I mean, he had a land and he had a cantrip, like.
That's 5.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. This match probably with top 8 implication. I believe it's almost a straight clean cut to top 8. It'll be just a whole bunch of draws.
Yeah, it's actually kind of unfortunate for Kyle here because, like, while I feel like, well, basically, like, he has the Batter Skull in his main deck, and that card's going to go from, like, amazing in game 1 to very mediocre post-board because Brandon has, presumably, Ancient Grudges. Yeah, he's two
Brandon has
copies.
2 grudges.
Whereas, like, main deck, he only has, like, a Acidic Slime as an answer, where it would usually single-handedly beat him straight up. And Kyle has to do a lot. Like, it's much harder to win the post-board games just because you can't rely on your equipment at all and pretty much need a board out of that situation.
Yeah. So Kyle drops Invisible Stalker. It gives Brandon free reign to resolve a spell, but Brandon kind of already had that.
Yeah, with access to so many lands, like anything outside of just... Yeah. Okay, so Brandon...
Kyle's kind of just on the I'm dead plan, it looks like. Okay, Acidic Slime the land. That's, all right.
All right.
Draw to not a land. Okay. Oh, gut shot. He could gut shot the elves right here. That'd be.
He could Vapor Snag that 6 line and just lose his other land too, but I think
I like his counting.
yeah.
Okay.
Finding the most creative way to lose at this point, I suppose. Alright, Kyle packs it up.
So, I remember, this came up a lot in testing. You like being on the Delver side of this matchup, right?
I mean, I like being on the Delver side of everything, but yeah. No.
Okay, tell me about that, because, a lot of people out here, and I'm going to agree with them,
sure,
kind of think as Red-Green Aggro is like an anti-Delver deck. Or it certainly has taken on, especially today, it's taken on that role.
Sure, and like I said, I think if neither player is at what you would call like an expert level, then I think Red-Green's like pretty heavily advantaged just because of like the pressure it applies, and it just puts you in a lot of tough spots, and it gives you very little like margin for error. But like I think for like a player like Kyle, like he'll be fine.
But you say it's much more about like the skill of like I
think it's more
about
dependent
Kyle's
on
skill
Kyle's
than Brandon's here,
right? Because Brandon's gonna replicate the same game states a lot. Like you're either gonna have games where like you lead off with a birds and you just start like ramming threats down. Like it's either like a Geist on 2 or a Zenith for a Geist or a Daybreak Ranger or whatever. And Kyle's just like gonna need to like beat those cards.
Right.
And then like you just come out ahead because like you play less land, you don't play cards like birds that are just like dead later on in the game. And like you have all these cantrips to cycle through your deck.
It's like once you know what's important, you can nap. Certainly think there's more play in the Delver deck. It's one of the advantages of it is,
right?
There's always a decision.
And I think an underrated element of playing with Delver 2 is that because you have all those cantrips and like a lower land count, like you're gonna draw more spells in the game. Like you have more action.
Yeah.
And like you do have to like mulligan less too, and you're better out of those mulligans that you do take just because like the nature of your deck, and that shows up over like the length of a tournament. Like.
So you like, but at the same time, so you like going late in games with Delver.
Yeah, so, and this is like the whole theory behind playing with Invisible Stalker and then boarding it out in almost every matchup, is that game 1, your job is just to beat your opponent up as quickly as possible. You just want to play Delver or Stalker or Geist and just end the game, like hopefully by like turn 5.
Going late is kind of a liability? Or
yeah, and just like the raw power of your deck is greater than most others. Like,
sure,
you have Wild Nicottle that flies and they don't, and you have this like unblockable creature hooked up with a sword that like presumably they can't answer in their main deck. And then post board, I don't want to call it like transforming by any means because it's not like you're at the length where you're bringing like Sun Titan, but you can just like cut your stalkers and cut your equipment, and then you bring in cards like Timely Reinforcements and Images, and like that's when you really see like Moorland Hunt start to shine. And Snapcaster Mage does a lot more work.
Sure. So, like, looking at Kyle's board, all right, how is he changing this? He said Stalker comes out, because Brandon will probably fight him over the equipment now.
Right. He's going to bring it, like, the grudges will just trump anything his equipment do. So he's going to need, and, like, without the equipment, the Stalkers
probably just the 2 grudges is all I see out of Brandon's deck that I'd really like to bring in. He has a lot of large sorcery speed cards, most of which I don't like.
Yeah, he has the Arc Trails, too, which are
like,
fine. And they're, like... They're very, shall we say, like sexy. Where if he opens on 2 Delvers and you get to get them, like it's just the greatest thing in the world. But I obviously understand this is a corner case. Right. But I expect Kyle to bring in like Images, Purges if he knows that Brandon has Hell Riders, but he doesn't. Timely Reinforcements.
Kyle's shipping as well. So does Brandon. Both players on 6. I think that benefits Kyle more. Not really. It's like pretty a wash.
Yeah.
So whoever draws the better hand is still favored.
Oh.
I mean, both these decks mulligan fine, right?
Yeah. Like, the upside and the downside of being in red-green is that you have all those mana guys. So you have, like, somewhat of a higher land count, but you also have the ability just to open a hand of, like, 3 lands, 2 mana guys, and, like, a sword, and you're just like... I don't really know where this is going.
The guy like Divine Offerings, you're like, oh, yeah. Crap.
Right.
So what kind of hand is he looking for? Is he's on the play, like typically you want those fast, like obviously fast Delver draws are great, but he's on 6, he's not picky. What kind, the game plan here is to
Yeah,
I don't know, fill in the blank.
his mana leaks are much better on the play because they'll always catch a Strangleroot Geist, and like once you get that out of the way, I mean, you have all the breathing room in the world. Like let's pretend that Geist from the last game doesn't exist. It's completely different.
6 lands out of
we'll
Kyle.
be shipping that one back.
So he's also going to 5. Not going to get to play many games. It doesn't look like. Brandon contemplating. Looks like he's keeping. This is why no one's heard of Kyle.
There is that. Kyle's still in good spirits though.
Brandon in better spirits.
Well, yeah. I mean, and Ken Burrow looking over shoulder.
Ken Burrow also playing for top 8 this round.
Yep. Coming out of retirement.
I know.
For all the Burrows out there.
I mean, the fact that Brandon's on 6 could mean that Brandon has a hand. Probably was just like 1 threat in it.
Right.
So,
the small issue though is if you're in Kyle's seat, the Delver deck doesn't really deal with threats per se.
It's just like
it just
puts them
temporarily
off.
handles them.
Like bounces them or.
Yeah.
That has
no
no lands.
lander?
That has no lands. All right.
We'll be going to 4.
Glad we're bringing you quality magic here. He's gonna down to 4 and 5 and 4. It's like almost one hand. You put both of them together. I believe Kyle lost round 1. If I'm not mistaken. So
That's very possible.
yeah, and it enters in with both of them with pretty weak breakers. Actually, both of them lost round 1 or 2. I think they're both on the streak.
The breakers seem all but irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, because
the clean cut.
Cut's so clean. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Kyle just getting really outplayed here.
And he knows it, just staring deep into the camera's eyes. It's all right, man. You never had a shot.
Can he win off a Moldifor? Is there a good Moldifor that's like can get him here? Or
Yeah, if he just opens on like 1 land,
Delver, flip mana leak.
No, it'd be like 1 land or 2 lands, Delver. You like flip a Ponder, and then you like Ponder on your turn, play another Delver.
Flip it. Flip it to a Vapor Snag. Be like, ah.
I mean, what does Brandon have for removal? He has 3 Galvanic Blast, 2 Brimstone Volley.
Yeah, and the
2 Ancient
Brimstones
Grudge.
might not be in anymore.
Right. So reliably, he has 2 or 3 Galvanic Blast and maybe some number of Arc Trail to deal with a Delver.
All right, hey, turn 1 Delver. In response, turn 1. Does not flip the Delver. He's gonna Ponder. There's a Snag. He can draw land and put Snag on top. That's like pretty. It's
about as
real
good
play.
as you can hope for off a 4. What else does he have?
Divine Offering. It looks like.
They're like a Timely. I can't really tell.
Timelin's pretty good, right? Maybe he doesn't have a 3rd land.
The problem with Timely in this matchup, well, that's very aggressive.
Brandon's not going to bite. Actually, Brandon, you have to bite here. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way Kyle's going to win is if I mean, maybe he's just trying to like choke him on lands, but
don't you swing first and then offer the trade? I mean, yeah. The problem is that.
Yeah. So the issue with Timely is that like, say he plays it here, like what has he accomplished? Like he can trade with the Strangleroot Geist now, and he's gained some life. Like Timely's a lot better against zombies. I feel like because the life is more relevant at grinding out the game, but the red green deck's very capable of just taking over with like a Huntmaster that you're never gonna stop with some like tokens.
The instant Vapor Snagging the Geist, but that's like unsummon on the defense is pretty bad. All right, Geist to Saint Traft. Sure. 1 card left.
I still don't get the Delver attack.
No, I don't understand the Delver attack.
Because he knows the Snag is there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe his greatest fear was just like him. I don't know. Maybe he just
Daybreak
thought
Ranger?
he could. Yeah, but even that doesn't make
You're
sense.
dead to Daybreak Ranger anyway.
Maybe he thought he could just cut him off on lands or something.
Zenith for Huntmaster.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
This one's looking real bad.
All right.
See, because now it's like what can you hope to draw? Is 1 Dismember to actually deal with this?
It doesn't really deal with it.
Even if
that doesn't deal with it.
He could send in his Geist, and Brandon, in some lights, will have to double block to like get rid of it in fear of like Vapor Snag. But that doesn't really do anything. Then he's just trading a bunch of cards. Yeah, he could just leave the Huntmaster on the table.
Yeah, not enough cards. Oh, if Kyle tries to haunt here, that flips the Huntmaster. Yeah, Huntmaster's really good. It's one of the things you're not supposed to let come down in the first place.
Yeah.
Timely reinforcements. Okay. It's like a real card. Brings them both up to 22. Kyle gets a boat of blockers. But he still doesn't have a way to get through.
No, I mean, Brandon can just ship here.
And that's pretty strong.
Yeah. Ship and then just like, yeah, just like start playing like the Flip the Huntmaster game.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to lose when you flip it twice.
Legacy Open players, Legacy Challenge players, rather. Sorry about that. Your round 2 pairings are being posted on your pairings board. Again on blue paper.
Strangleroot Geist comes into play.
See, like, why even make that play though? I would just ship.
Yeah, that play's weaker than shipping. I would agree.
Like, and is that a second one in his hand? Like, these have no real board presence.
But if
right
you
now.
do that, I mean, don't you just ship and then next turn you double Geist and flip back? I mean,
yeah, and then just like building a board.
This is splitting hairs. I mean, it's like, okay, would you like to crush or crush? But
yeah.
I think he's crushing him in the wrong way.
Yeah. Like he's making these tokens like kind of relevant, whereas he could have just like shipped and then
8 some had a 4/4, not cared. Yeah.
Like Kyle's realistic ways to even deal with this Huntmaster at any point are the 1 dismember and purges if he brought them in, but they're not very good against Brandon's build. So.
Alright, swings in with just the 2 creatures. One of them trades. Okay, sword, that's
really
almost relevant.
I mean, again, like this is why Brandon can just like sit here flipping the Huntmaster. He can just make some tokens to block whatever. As long as that sword never connects. And even if it does, like Kyle doesn't have any cards in his hand to gain life. Brandon's like down to like very few cards.
It's really just +2/+2 in protection.
Yeah.
So, other thing about Delver, we're seeing today a lot of Delver, like, so, I said before the tournament, almost everybody I knew coming into this tournament was playing Delver.
Sure.
We're seeing a lot of it not in the top 8. It's like, it's underperforming. If I told you that, 70% of the top players are playing Delver, like, we're not seeing much Delver at the top tables.
Sure.
Like, reaction.
I mean, there's always the consequence of just like more people playing Delver than they're like knocking each other out.
Sure,
So
but even then,
the thing is like the deck is always going to underperform. Like Complet underperformed in a field,
right?
But it's just because like there's actually just too many people playing it.
I mean, there's still the argument that like if the deck is the top deck, and 60% of the people are playing it, you'd expect 60% of the top 8, especially when you're talking about like the stronger players playing it.
Sure, but like even if you look up here, like Boyd and Mohan, I'm not too familiar with the name, but I know he's won like a couple PTQs, and he's a big guy from Iowa. And Boyd, he's won a Star City Open. He's played on the PT several times. Like they're both just very good people, and they're capable of winning with, like they're playing reasonable decks that aren't named Delver. So
I think Mohan actually. We'll check.
Mohan was playing like a ramp deck, I believe.
Yeah, Mohan is playing the Conley Woods ramp deck.
Right. And Boyd playing Frights. And those are both like very strong, like they're very strong decks, and they're very capable of beating people.
Yeah.
Like,
he's gonna grudge Nelson now. Okay, getting back to the game for a second. Nelson grudging the Sword of War and Pete's, really taking all of Kyle's out. Okay, it's getting scooped up. Brandon Nelson defeats Kyle Stoll. 2 games to 0, defeats a Mold of 5, then followed by a Mold of 4.
in short order.
Yes.